April 2025. Conspiracy theorists notice something strange on Google Earth. An underwater formation 6.6 miles off Malibu that was visible for years suddenly appears blurred. Sycamore Knoll, a flat-topped structure 2,000 feet below the surface, nearly 3 miles wide, sat there in detail for over a decade. Now, it's gone. Why would Google blur one specific geological feature while leaving everything else untouched, especially when it's still visible on other mapping platforms like fishing apps and NOAA charts? Sycamore Knoll sits at 34 degrees 1 minute 23 seconds north, 118 degrees 59 minutes 45 seconds west, covering almost 5 square miles with a flat top and supporting columns along edges. A 2018 paper identified it as a pop-up structure in the hanging wall of the Anacapa-Dume Fault, calling it an anomalous bathymetric high. The area sits at a tectonic boundary where strain is partitioned across a fault system. Witnesses report crafts emerging from the ocean, including one cathedral-shaped structure with pointed edges glowing white, disappearing in a flash without splash. But here's what's stranger. Sycamore Knoll isn't the only underwater formation sparking theories. In 2009, users discovered what looked like a perfect grid 600 miles off North Africa, covering over 100 miles. British tabloids asked if it was Atlantis. Google updated the data in 2012, making the grid vanish. David Sandwell from Scripps explained the grid was caused by a sonar survey ship using incorrect velocity calculations. Depth errors created street-like artifacts. Only 5% of the ocean floor is mapped by modern sonar. The rest comes from satellite gravity measurements, resolving features down to 0.9 miles. When Google stitches high-resolution sonar with low-resolution satellite data, edges don't match. Ships travel straight, collecting detailed sonar. Those tracks appear as ridges against blurry backgrounds, artifacts that look exactly like roads or structures. If you're finding this unsettling, hit that like button, because it gets darker. Google obtains underwater data from satellite radar, echo sonar from Navy, NOAA, NASA, and research vessels. Different technologies produce different resolutions. Google fills gaps with educated guesses. Geologists like Ben Schwartz from California State examined Sycamore Knoll and determined it's entirely natural, shaped by geological forces along the coast. It's part of the continental shelf that experienced erosion when sea level was lower. Features could result from slope failures. It's coastal morphology, not an alien base. Yet Congressman Tim Burchett claims an anonymous admiral told him about an underwater UFO the size of a football field moving at hundreds of miles per hour. Military witnesses. And Google blurs it out. We don't chase clicks, we chase truth. If that matters, subscribe and stay tuned. Why did Google blur Sycamore Knoll? Likely data updates. Google continuously improves ocean imagery using better satellites and corrected sonar. When datasets overlap at different resolutions, conflicting sources create blurred patches instead of clear images. In 2012, thousands of blunders in archived ship data were scrubbed after UC San Diego students spent 3 years identifying errors. The Atlantis grid vanished because data was wrong, not because they were hiding anything. Sycamore Knoll probably got caught in such an update. But that doesn't satisfy everyone. The formation gained attention in 2014 when images went viral. Jimmy Church from Fade to Black called it the biggest center of UFO activity since Roswell. The structure looked too symmetrical, too perfect, and it sits near Point Mugu Naval Base, one of the largest military installations on the West Coast. Are they hiding something? Or is this how imperfect data renders when mapping 95% of unexplored ocean using gravity measurements from space? The real story isn't alien bases or cover-ups. It's how little we know about the ocean floor. Modern sonar reveals details down to 328 feet, but that exists for only 5% of the seabed. The rest is educated guesswork based on satellite gravity. We have better maps of Mars than our own ocean floor. Geometric patterns or flat-top structures in Google Earth often mark boundaries between measured and estimated data. Gaps rendered as visual artifacts. Sycamore Knoll is real, created by tectonic forces. Scientists published papers on it. How it appears digitally depends on which data sources Google displays and how they're stitched together. The blurring isn't evidence of conspiracy, it's evidence we're still figuring out what's down there. Until the remaining 95% is mapped with actual sonar instead of satellites, we'll keep finding structures that look impossible, patterns that seem artificial, and formations that make us wonder what else is hidden in the dark. Don't forget to subscribe, where truth gets real, fast, and unfiltered.